So today we're going to break down the Jaw Movies DVD collection. As you can see here, we have the spines for all of the Jaw Movies DVDs. I know previously I mentioned that there were 48 DVDs total made, and actually 25 of those belong to Jaw Movies, which that's kind of crazy, um, if you ask me. So also just for fun too, I'll go over them pretty quickly. These were the previously mentioned Apocrypha DVDs. We have the Galaxy More movie, which was later retitled 9-Year-Old Momo's Fan Film, brought to you by, that was back when we were going by the Palmer Productions. And we have the little synopsis on the back. And that's pretty much it. It's just a plain plastic case and DVD. And the Galaxy War 2 was a bit of a step up. It's got a spine now. Kind of crudely made, if you ask me, but a nice little amateur project. We have the back synopsis, which, again, could have been done a lot better, but it is what it is. It was a beginner's attempt. And, again, there's nothing really inside. You open it up, and it's just Galaxy War 2 on DVD. Simple as that. And here's more of a face value look at all the Jaw Movies DVDs. As you can see now, we'll get a closer look at some of them, but there's some more uniformity in here. They all say either a Jaw Movies Classic or they say Jaw Movies Classics. They all have the little digitally remastered thing at the bottom. And we already looked at the spines, but all the spines are uniform with the logo and then the title. And I mean, I'm sure you've noticed that about me over the years. I'm a big uniformity fan, and I like that they all look, even though they're all very different. Obviously, we have some Star Wars, we have some Lego stop motion, we have puppet show, a documentary. They're all the same thing in a sense. They all look the same, they all feel the same, they all feel like a set. Even this one, which is just a little 2-minute documentary, and it's on a little slip instead of an actual case, it still matches the formula, which I like. So we'll kind of start by breaking them down into groups and looking at them from there. So first we have the Rudolph and Quack. As you can see, they all kind of say Blast from the Past Part 1, 2, and 3. And then I have Introducing Blast from the Past as the text on the documentary. But these were the films that I made when I was younger. Films, if you want to call it. Fun fact, Rudolph and Quack. So this is actually the poster I created for the attempt at remaking Rudolph and Quack in 2013. I thought that kind of fit here, though. So we look at the back. And I'll insert the actual pictures of the cover art at the end so you can kind of take a more HD look at what they all say. I know it's a little harder to read. But we see it's got the back, and that they all kind of match. I'll flip them all over for you. So there's Perry and Dinklebird. And then we have the movie Conspiracy, which again, we've already seen kind of the proto attempt at a DVD for that. And then the documentary, won't focus too much on that. But they're all uniform. They all have their little description. If there's multiple discs, which not all of them have, some of them are 1 disc, some of them are 2 disc. They kind of break down what's in it. If it's just the video like this one, it's going to follow this format. If it's got multiple discs, it's going to break down disc 1 and disc 2. And if it's just the 1 disc, but it's got features on it, it's going to break it down with special features like that. Then it's got the 3 separate images of the video or videos. If it's just one main film with its bonus features or no bonus features, it's going to have some credits on the back. And then, obviously, if it's a collection, it's not going to have those credits. And then we have, PG or PG-13, whatever the rating is that I decided to give it. Most of them are PG, of course. The logo, runtime, and DVD time, or total DVD time. So the approximate time is just the content. So whether it's a collection or it's just one film, it's just going to be the runtime of the actual official content. And then the total DVD time, whether it's obviously a set of 2 discs or it's just 1 disc with bonus features, it's going to break down the total time of the content plus all the bonus features. So for this, it is a 41-minute film or short film plus 30 minutes of bonus content, which makes up a total of 71 minutes. Obviously, the documentary, it's just a quick little documentary, so no credits. But it's got the runtime. And then also they have the copyright year for the content. So obviously, like, these two were created in 2009. They weren't released on YouTube in 2009, but they were made and finished in 2009. So that's their copyright year, 2011, 2016. And so when you take a look inside, this one's a little bit different this time around. So obviously the DVDs still look pretty plain. Just Rudolph and Quack, disc 2, disc 1's obviously on this side. None of them have disc artwork. That was a bit beyond my pay grade. I wasn't getting paid at all, actually. But Rudolph and Quack disc 1, Rudolph and Quack disc 2. But each DVD actually has a little insert. Well, pardon me, actually. I take that back. If it's just a film on there and that's it, no bonus features, just one singular film, I don't believe I made inserts because there's obviously no need to. But for something that has obviously a lot of bonus features, or if I made chapter selections if the film was long enough, I made little inserts. Some of them are double-sided. I think there's 2 that actually have 3 sides, but most of them are obviously going to be single inserts, which I think is really cool, and that helps, I think, distinguish these as individual DVDs. So when we look at the Perry and Dinkelberg one, obviously it's going to be pretty different because I just said it's got the Perry and Dinkelberg film and that's it. No bonus features or nothing. So there's only a need for one disc and there's no insert. But then we contrast that with the single disc set of the movie Conspiracy, where it has bonus features and the film, but it's only one disc. So obviously it's going to have the insert, nothing behind there. And we have the disc, Movie Conspiracy, 9-Year-Old Momo's fan film. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm not going to pull this one out because all that's in there is just a plain DVD, but there's the back cover and there's the front. And that is the Jaw Movies Blast from the Past section. And then next we have the Galaxy War and Darth Momo DVD set. Obviously, there's some parallels here between these and the Star Wars DVDs, which these took probably the most time out of any of them to make the covers, but these are probably the ones I'm the most proud of. I know they look a little amateurish, but I think for the fact that this is an amateur-free project, this is actually really cool. I think this one's probably my favorite one, followed by this one, and then this one obviously I think is the most crude of the 3. But they all got Galaxy War 1, 2, 3. And as I'm sure you saw in a video I previously released earlier in the year, that they all have DVD intros that sort of match the 2000s Star Wars DVDs intros. So here's my little Galaxy War trilogy. Obviously we'll take a look at the back. They're all pretty uniform, which again was the goal. We have kind of just as an homage to the Star Wars trilogy on VHS, you know, In a Dark Time, The Battle Rages On, Darkness Rises, and Light to Meet It. These are all single disc sets, so no disc 1, disc 2, but we have all the special features, which is pretty uniform for them. They all have their blooper reels and their trailers. This one has the YouTube edition of Galaxy War, and then this one has a bonus clip that was released ahead of the release of Galaxy War 2. And then they all have their credits, Galaxy War 1, 2, and 3, stills, ratings, time, runtime. As you can see, like, the bonus features on these can get a little lengthy. You know, we look at this one and that's 30 minutes, but you look at that and that's 75, 42. These are probably, like I said, these are the ones I think I'm the most proud of. They've formed their own little trilogy, almost set. They're uniform, and they look really cool. I think they look really cool. So some people, well, real quick, we'll look inside at the inserts. Again, there's the insert. These ones actually got chapter breakdowns, so that's why it's so long, even though there's not a lot of bonus content on there. But again, they're all going to pretty much look the same. Oh, that's the Galaxy War trilogy. So some people might ask, why does Galaxy War 4 look different over here? And that's because it really was never completed. Those of you who know the history of the channel will obviously know that already. This is more or less just a rough cut, but it didn't feel right putting it in with the Galaxy War bonus material just because there's so much material when it comes to the fourth one as far as bonus stuff goes. So I decided to make it its own, but to distinguish it, obviously it's got a different formula. There's not really much footage to work with to get pictures like this. So this is just pretty much a plain Galaxy War 4. And hopefully, hypothetically speaking, obviously this isn't going to happen, but if you walked into a store and you saw these on the shelf, obviously the fact that this one looks different, even though it's number 4, is going to tell you something's off, which we go into on the back of this. First is just a little bit of history about how it's unfinished, but this is what was done and completed. And then we have the summary of the plot along with all the special features, some stills. Obviously, if it's got text in there, again, you know something's off with this. 2017 and 24, unlike the last ones, it's got 2 dates because most of this came out in 2017, but obviously the narrated script was a 2024 product, which, as you can see in the bonus time, we've got 16 minutes as opposed to 63. And I believe the insert is, again, it's going to be similar to the others. It's as uniform as it can be, but obviously it's not going to be the exact same because it's not really that much of a film like the others. So then we get down to kind of the spin-off for the extra. This is the Galaxy War bonus material, so it's got the documentary as well as anything to do with Galaxy War 5 and a few other tidbits. This kind of a montage of all the characters, which I thought was really cool. That was really fun to do. This one is a 2-disc set just because that documentary is so long. But I kind of tried to mirror this similar to the Star Wars Trilogy bonus material disc in the box set, which, again, I thought this was pretty cool. And, again, just to distinguish, we're still keeping it uniform, but because it's bonus content, obviously you're looking at different things as opposed to stills from the actual film. And so because of that, the insert is going to be a little different. Disc 1, disc 2, but it's still more or less in line with the others. And then we obviously have a double disc set. And then we go on to the Galaxy War anthology films. I thought it would still kind of work to merge those together. Jedi Hunted, Power of Lord Palmer, and Standoff in the Desert. We flip over to the back, and it's just it's clearly different. But it still kind of feels the same because it's got the stuff the same at the bottom. It's got similar background. But because it's 3 films in one, we kind of break it down. Since it's not a bunch of films and it's only 3, I don't break it down the way I normally would have with some of the other collections we'll get to. But I still thought it was kind of cool to have just the title of the film and a still, plus a brief summary, and then the special features. There's not a lot of special features on this as opposed to some of the Galaxy Wars. And then we have similar breakdown. This is, again, a 1-disc set, just the 3 films, and then their bonus content that they each have respectively. And then we get to the other Galaxy War spin-off in a sense. It's still a spin-off. It's in the universe, but it doesn't present itself as a spin-off the same way that these 3 did. Plus, it's also not really live action. So I thought it would be more appropriate to keep it as its own thing since that's kind of how it was advertised. And unlike the rest of these, which more or less got special covers, this one was just the actual poster I made, which I thought was kind of cool to do that in some instances. It worked better, especially since this is just a single film. But it's still, uniform with the rest on the back. It's got the stills, special features, a summary, little tagline, which matches the poster, actually, and then the film credits. And this is, again, a single disc set, so when you open it up, it's still Galaxy War, it's still going to match the formula, and it's got its disc. And then we get to the Adventures of Darth Momo, which they're technically not Galaxy War, but they're still in the same timeline, so I thought it would be fitting to include them. We have the main villain, Dava Kum, and then Momo right there. That was a special created image, which, again, I thought looked pretty cool. Then we have the summary, And then it's got a breakdown of disc 1 and disc 2. Since they're all kind of released in subsets like volumes, it's got the individual volume names along with Momo's Final Adventure. And then it's got all the bonus features, some stills from across the series. And yeah, 2015 to 2020 took 5 years to make. And then this one is a 2-disc set. So we can see we got disc 2 and we have disc 1. But one thing that's different about this insert is because there's so much content, this actually folds open and it's got 3 sides. That back is just blank, but then we go through, the Momo trilogy, 1 through 6, 7 through 10, 11 through 14, and Momo's Final Adventure. And then the bonus features on disc 2, they've all got their summaries and their thumbnails. So it's different from the rest of the ones we've just looked at, but I thought it still looks pretty cool, pretty professional, for an amateur at least, and a nice little breakdown. And that is the Galaxy War / Darth Momo collection of the Jaw Movies DVDs. So the next one we're going to talk about and break down is the My Lego Clone War, My Lego Rebel Life DVDs, which I'm really happy with how these ones turned out too. I think they're pretty cool. Obviously got them broken down by season. And even though they're, again, same timeline, I wanted to differentiate since they're different series. So we'll start with My Lego Clone War. This one is pretty basic. As you can see, it's just the logo. There's not a lot going on, and I'll explain why in a second. But the backgrounds, there's pretty much a uniform way the backs look across all these DVDs. As you can kind of see, they more or less match the Galaxy War ones. And they've got their stills, their breakdown of the discs. Obviously, there's not as many bonus features on the Clone War ones. As you guys who know the channel know, there's a lot more bonus when it comes to the My Lego Rebel Life. But just pretty much introducing what the season is, what the series is. And if you look inside too, they're going to, just like the old Clone Wars DVDs, they're going to have, if I can get it open, they're going to have breakdowns of all the episodes. So we can see here it's got the different episodes. And then on the other side, it's got the rest of the episodes plus the bonus features, which I thought was pretty cool. As far as the inserts came out, I think these are my favorite inserts, just because it kind of reminds me of those old Clone Wars DVDs. As we can see, the same thing here. This one's actually single-sided just because Season 2 was so short. It's got the 5 episodes, the descriptions plus the bonus features. And then we go on to My Lego Rebel Life. So these are actually free posters that I actually have physical copies of. I made them on Shutterfly a few years ago. I had some freebies from a Safeway Monopoly program. And I made these posters. Obviously, they're each different, but they're more or less the same too. They're uniform. It's got our main characters, a main setting. The Comnock base was pretty significant in the first 2 seasons. Coruscant's a big part of this season, so it's got the Emperor's Palace, and then the Rebels base is pretty significant in here, so it's got that one on there. And then we've got, the main characters and the villain. Obviously, he's the same villain in both seasons. We've got villain here, villain there. So I'm kind of like these posters. I think I like the Galaxy War ones more, but I still think these are pretty cool as their own thing. I just pretty much took an image of them from Shutterfly and put them on the DVDs. And again, when we look at the back, so one thing you might have noticed when we looked at the spines is, well, yes, they're a similar format to the Galaxy War and the My Lego Clone War. These are actually all in orange text, just because of the font or the color orange in the text throughout the show of My Lego Rebel Life in the logo. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. As you can see, we get a few more bonus features in these ones. The summaries are a little longer, at least on most of them, maybe not Season 2, obviously, but otherwise it's got stills, disc breakdowns, and then runtime information, copyright year. And then when we look inside, it's going to be pretty similar to the My Lego Clone War. It's going to have they're all 2-disc sets except for Season 2, and they're going to have their 2-disc plus their episode breakdown, which I think still it looks pretty cool, especially with the orange text. It stands out a bit more. It's got stills for the episodes and summaries. There's the one for season 2. And then on the back side, since season 2 and 3 are a little longer, they're going to obviously be a little longer on the end. One thing I like too is like I never really on YouTube had thumbnails for the episodes. They were all pretty much the My Lego Rebel Life logo, which I'm okay with that. But because of that, I thought it was kind of cool that now we have like thumbnails for each of them. You know, you can call them more or less official thumbnails. There's the first 6 episodes of season 3, followed by the last 3. And then bonus features, we got the documentary is going to be on this one, since that's kind of also includes a sneak peek at season 4. And then the final one. This season's actually only 6 episodes. So we have the 6 episodes all on one side, plus the bonus features on the back. Which, again, I think, especially with the thumbnails, I think they all just look really cool. Whether you like the My Lego Rebel Life series or not, I think the DVDs came out pretty good. But yeah, those are the My Lego Clone War and My Lego Rebel Life DVDs. And then to tie it off, we're going to look at the kind of more or less miscellaneous Jaw Movies DVDs. So this is the rest of the batch. They all kind of, they don't really, I mean, maybe these two fit together, but they more or less are kind of all their own things. We'll start with Jaw Movies and Darth Momo and Oral History. So this one's actually a newer project that just came out a few months ago. It's my documentary about the history of Jaw Movies and the Darth Momo YouTube channel. Obviously stills from the documentary. Some sort of credit, since it's an over hour long. That's actually supposed to say 67. That was an error on my part. But this is an hour long, DVD. So I figured some film credits would be appropriate, but I put in their documentary. Obviously a quick breakdown in the special features. You look inside. Again, it's going to be pretty similar. It's going to have the little insert and then the DVD. And now this one might be just a tad controversial. First off, I want to say this is also between the My Lego Rebel Life and the Galaxy War, and then this one is probably also the other one in my top 3 of favorite DVD covers. I just love the look of it, the font, the coloring. I like how it really looks. So this might be controversial because this says Jaw Movies, even though the first Buckaroo actually came from Nuclear Films, which is why I have on here from Nuclear Films and Jaw Movies. There's actually 2 versions of this one. Chris Yackerson at Nuclear Films actually has a copy that says Nuclear Films on it. The others in existence, there's 2 others besides this one, and they all say Jaw Movies on there. And the reason why is because, if we're going by majority rules, obviously 2 out of the 3 were produced by Jaw Movies, and also the DVD was produced by Jaw Movies. So out of respect for Chris, I made a Nuclear Films copy that said Nuclear Films on there, but the rest of them all say Jaw Movies. I produced the DVD. I think that's fair. This one's set a little bit differently as opposed to the Galaxy War spin-off films set. We have film credits for each of them. No summaries. That's not on here. We have just the film credits and then some stills from each one. Obviously 2020, 2023, Nuclear Films and Jaw Movies. So we're still giving credit where credit is due. Nuclear Films, Jaw Movies. I just put the logo on there as Jaw Movies because you could only have one kind on there. And then the insert. This is probably actually the most different one out of the rest of them. They're all pretty uniform. They're all going to follow either the multi-content set, or it's going to follow the one we just saw with this. But they're larger font. They have the summary underneath as opposed to on the side. So this one's actually pretty unique. I do believe it's the only one that looks like this, but obviously some summaries and then the timestamps. And that's one thing actually I made sure to put on all of them is I have the timestamp. The DVDs can be a little funky when it comes to the scene selection. So it gives you an instance of how long every individual video is, plus the timestamp of how far it is in the DVD, which I think is pretty helpful. It took a few extra steps, but I think in the long run it was worth it. Next we have The Bounty, which was a Star Wars fan film. This was more or less produced by Jaw Movies. I was responsible for saving this project, but this isn't a history lesson. We don't need to touch on that, really. Again, this is just a singular film with its bonus features. Obviously, a lot of them. We've got a 5-minute film and a 36-minute runtime. But it's got stills, which if you'll notice, those stills are actually a little smaller as if we compared them to Buckaroo, because this film was shot in this was cropped and released on YouTube in a theatrical aspect ratio. So the stills are actually going to be a little smaller. There's a few DVDs that are like that on here. Brief summary, and then we go to the inside, and it's going to be that kind of single insert set. Obviously, it's got 2 discs, and the main reason is just because the bonus features are so long. But it's got the bounty and the discs. So then we're going to move on to Breakfast Brawl. So this one might also be just a little controversial because it says Jaw Movies when this was a Jaw Movies Nuclear Films joint production. If anything, it was more Nuclear Films as a production. But the reason why I labeled it Jaw Movies is if you look at the bonus features, you have 2 minutes for the actual content runtime and 37 minutes in bonus features. No one else released the bonus features. Those are all exclusive to Jaw Movies. That wasn't, any particular reason. They had no interest in them. I was the one who uploaded all that, and again, I'm producing the DVD, so I chose to take the credit on the initial logo. But as I do put in here, I do give credit, Jaw Movies and Nuclear Films film. We've got stills, special features, obviously a short summary because the video is so short. And then we've got the single disc plus the insert. Next, we have the Jaw Movies puppet shows. We have the official thumbnail for each of them, plus a still for each of them, respectively. On the back, pretty similar to the others, although it's an all-black background, just like the documentary. Special features, runtime, stills. And when we go inside, it's, again, just the single disc plus a little insert. Obviously, this one's only a single page, but it still follows the content thumbnail plus summary and breakdown and all that. And then that's the Jaw Movies short films collection. There's actually 12 short films on here. The oldest one was made in 2015, and we go all the way to 2024 with Underground. So we can see when we open this up. This one's, first we'll look at the back. So I break down kind of the individual films on here, and then some of the bonus features. We get a bonus video in here, iFunny. Some stills from some of the hits. We got Hunt for the Killer, Grief vs. Spirit. There's a lot on here, as we can see. 38 minutes in film, but 102 minutes in bonus or total, including bonus content. That's over an hour of bonus content. That's actually crazy. 2015 all the way to 2024. Kind of a cool little retrospective summary. And then when we go inside, this is obviously a 2-disc set. I accidentally made this one kind of backwards, but when you open it up, we have breakdown of all the films. And then we have all the bonus content, which, like I said, there's a lot of bonus content. And I do want you guys to know that, at least when it comes to Jaw Movies, all of this is available on the Jaw Movies YouTube channel. So I know there might be some of you that are bummed you don't have these DVDs. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be something I'm looking to sell or make available for sale. But obviously, there's no need to. They're all on YouTube for free. This is kind of a fun thing I did for myself and a few friends and family members. But all this stuff for Jaw Movies is available on the Jaw Movies channel. So if you're ever interested in checking this out, again, this is all available on the Jaw Movies channel. And then the last one is the Galactic Conflict. Those of you who know the history of the channel will also know that this is pretty much an attempt at remaking Galaxy War that ultimately didn't work out. But there's still some content here, so it got its own little DVD set. But to distinguish it from Galaxy War, it's obviously a different format. We have just, we established an alternate Galaxy War reality, some thumbnails, breakdown of what's on, what's kind of considered content and what's more just a bonus feature, even though you could argue that the whole thing is a bonus feature. And then we have the breakdown, and we have, summaries, and we have the bonus features. And that pretty much wraps up the Jaw Movies collection. Again, at the end of the video, I'll have kind of some HD images of the cover artwork, front and back. But thank you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to look at this. This was a pretty big project I did. As I said, bulk of many hours throughout the day over the course of a couple of months. Stay tuned. We're going to next go over the 00 Studios collection, which there's a lot less DVDs there, so that'll be a much shorter video. But please, stay tuned, and thank you for joining in.